Hello traders, in today's video we're going to be going over how to screen for order book changes to predict where price is going to go in the near future. Let's dive in. Alright traders, let's dive into order book changes. So let's say you're scrolling through Binance futures or really any asset and you're trying to think, well, in the short term, is price going to likely rise or is price going to likely fall? Well, order book changes is one of the new tools that I've been using, and it's actually been a lot more helpful than I expected it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first explain to you guys what this represents. Then I'm going to talk about supply and demand and how that factors in. And then we're going to finish with how you can use this in really any kind of strategy you feel like. I do have to apologize, though. My computer has been doing just terribly. So this is not my computer. This is a different computer. So it might be a little bit buggy, but listen to what I have to say and just accept the fact that this is going to be a bit buggy. All right, let's dive in and do it. So what order book changes represent is a delta. So the typical showing of it is this, which I don't love. This just isn't that helpful to me at all. But delta shows me of the offers here, limit sell orders, and the bids here, limit buy orders, is there more buying liquidity or selling liquidity being added to the order book? Now, we can see right here that a lot of bid orders have been pulled, so orders to buy have been pulled, and we can see that a lot of offers have been added. So typically this represents that supply is greater than demand and the price is likely going to fall. But what you also have to look at is market orders. If I see a conjunction of both market selling and a lot of bids being pulled and offers being added, that's pretty bearish for me because that shows the sellers are in complete control of both factors of supply and demand. Not only are they market selling and not many people are market buying, but also bids are being pulled. So that is one thing for you to look at. Another thing that I've actually found very helpful with order book changes is we can see that a lot of offers on Link have been pulled here, right guys? And actually placing a bid at around the 9.48 level might not be a terrible idea. The reason I say that is because typically when this happens, price just eats right through this liquidity until we get to a price point where a lot of liquidity has been added. So if I was to place just an imaginary bid, I think that around 9.482 or 9.483 might actually be a not terrible place to place a bid, which would be right there. So be just below that low. This would probably be not a terrible place to buy in the very short term if you were bullish, okay? And we'd be filled. I mean, yeah, we'd get filled right there. You can see that price just did cut through all this, so maybe this is a little bit too bearish and you might want to pull that bid, but we'll see. Buying at the 9.48 may have been a good idea. We will see. Well, it looks like that actually worked perfectly on camera. Look at that. So price went right down, scooped that up, and then it went right back up, and you could have bought at 9.48 and then sold at 9.5. So that's one thing. So this I found to be just very, very helpful. And the reason I say sell at 9.5 is this looks very bearish to me. We don't want to buy anymore. The reason I say this looks very bearish is look at all of these bids being pulled. All these bids are being pulled and all these offers are being added and people are market selling. This is the recipe for bearishness, right? I mean, price is probably going to fall below 9.48, you'll see. Probably. I mean, it's all probability. We don't know what's actually going to happen, but I think that price is going to probably fluctuate and then eventually fall a little lower. But what you always have to remember, guys, is this. You always need to look at a marriage, a combination of market orders and of the delta. Because there are times where you may see the delta looks like this, which looks super bearish, but there's just so much market buying that occurs that the price can't help but go higher. But there are also times, and this can be actually quite infuriating when you're in a trade, when just everyone's market selling and you're short and you're like, oh, sweet, everyone's market selling. That's great. But the price keeps going up. Why does that happen? Well, that happens, guys, because of the order book delta and what's being added. Even if there's a bunch of selling, after that selling, somebody could just be bidding up the price. The market maker could just be bidding up the price so that it just keeps rising. Even people are selling. Even when people are selling, they could just be accumulating like that, right? And you don't just have to look at the 5 minute. Here, look at the 1 hour. 1 hour looks like it's quite bullish. But the 5 minute looks quite bearish. What that means is short-term probably price will fall, medium-term price will rise. Other coins we can do this on. Let's go look at Theta. So you're looking at Theta right here, which already looks quite bullish, right, in price action. And this looks so bullish. Do you see this? All these bids being added and that offer pulled. Price is probably going to rise on Theta in the near future. Again, this is not an exact science. There's so many other forms of analysis that you should be using. But what I'm saying is that it provides this good probability for where price will probably go in the future. I love looking at the 5-minute and the 1 hour for changes to just see if price is quite bullish or quite bearish. And do remember that, of course, spoofing is a factor that can occur. Everyone knows that. But I've realized that order book changes actually is a little bit more honest than you might think. There's not as much spoofing on this that as you may assume. What I also like about it is we can even look at the long-term trading, like the 1 day, and look for orders, look for places to put our limit sells or limit buys, right? So let's look at we can look at the 12-hour. It seems like that it's kind of all over the place, but it looks like we have a lot of strength at 324, at 0.324, which is right here. Yeah, perfect. 0.324 is support. So what that's telling me, guys, is that in the current moment that support's quite strong. 0.323, 0.324, around that support level on the 1 minute chart looks quite strong. And this overall looks quite bullish. And to gauge the bullishness, I'm thinking we're just going to keep rising here. The 1 hour just looks quite bullish with bids being added, offer pulled, and we can go to the ultra short term, my favorite, on the 5 minute, and this just looks like just what happened to Link. Remember when this happened with Link and then Link just kind of fell? I think that's what's going to happen here. If this market buying continues, and I mean we see these kinds of bids being added, then price should just keep rising. But you should always be looking at this to screen for any changes that can occur, because something pretty sinister that can happen too is imagine if all of the bids are pulled and then just a bunch of offers are added. That would be quite bearish, right? That'd be like very, very bearish. But in essence, the thesis of this video is you can look at the 12-hour, the 1 day, maybe even the 1 hour. If you want to find support resistance levels, okay? You can, and look what just happened. It's funny I just said that. It can be quite sinister. Offers can be added and bids can be pulled and then price can fall. That's exactly what happened. Price fell. Offers added, bids pulled, and then price fell. What I was saying, though, is you can screen for support resistance levels on the 1 day, in the 12-hour, and even the 1 hour through this to find places that are going to be strong support or strong resistance. Because I actually don't love looking at the order book for support resistance. Call me crazy, but I just don't love it. I think that there is spoofing. You don't know what's a resting order, what's a newly added order, what's fresh, what's old liquidity. This shows you fresh and old liquidity, which is infinitely more important. So much more important. And now we know that price might actually begin to rise. Well, if we can get this back to red, then price could rise above 0.328. Well, looks like price is rising anyway. Look at the order book and orders over 1,000 USD. So this, for me, gives you bullish bearish bias in combination with market orders when you marry them, and it also gives you support resistance levels. Now I know what probably everyone's asking for is, the king of crypto, and I'm not talking about Doge. Okay, that was hilarious, little joke of mine. Let's screen for orders over 10K, and here we go. So as you can see, I wish that they went a little bit more granular, like, hey, what's liquidity added and pulled at 11,250, 11,260? But TRDR currently doesn't do that, which they wish they did. But we can still look at what areas are going to be genuine good support and resistance. So if I go to the 1 day, it looks like the 1 day is just slightly more bearish. Let's look at the 12-hour. Slightly more bearish, yeah. But it looks like we have some support at 11K, right? We have some pretty decent support at 11,000 because I can see a fair amount of bids being added. And you can also do this on BitMEX as well. All right, so the final one, I think Ethereum works very well for this, and I'm assuming that a lot of you probably like to trade Ethereum on futures, and Ethereum just works so well with this. I'll show you guys the good one for last. So it looks like this is quite bullish, right? Look at all of these offers being pulled, bids being added, and market buys dominating over market sells. This, to me, on the 1 hour, looks genuinely bullish. On the 5 minute, it looks actually genuinely bearish. So in the 1 hour, it's bullish. On the 5 minute, it's bearish. That's so interesting because that means that probably in the short term we could fall a bit, and then in the medium term we rise. There's so many ways that you can use this, probably ways that I'm not even talking about or thinking about. But use your imagination and find some other good ways to use this. Currently, I'll close this video with telling you the best things that I've found about this indicator is altcoins. Bitcoin and Ethereum can be meh, but altcoins are just so nice with this because you can just see what's strong support, what's strong resistance, and whether price is going to rise or fall probability-wise. And that's it. So with that, I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy trading.